Not every woman who gets left needs a knight in shining armor to be saved. When I heard Kevin say, "The thought of Claire's hands touching so much blood, it just makes me sick," I knew he had fallen for the new college intern at his company. I calmly handed him the divorce papers, because my life was never just about him. But later, unable to find me, Kevin lost his mind. "I'm a bit tired today, not in the mood." Kevin pulled my hand away and turned his back to me. Today was my ovulation day, the day we'd planned to try for a baby, but now he was rejecting me, perhaps sensing had been too harsh. Kevin turned back and held me in his arms, kissing my forehead. "Go on, sleep now," feeling the steady rhythm of his breathing. I knew something was wrong between us, so the next day, I left the hospital early, booked a romantic candlelight dinner, and planned to surprise him. But before I even entered the house, I overheard his conversation with his best friend, Leo. I really did love Claire before, just looking at her was enough, but now, the thought of her hands touching so much blood, it just makes me sick. "You're just tired of her, plain and simple," Leo said nonchalantly. Kevin didn't deny it. "So have you hooked up with that little secretary, Stella, was it?" This time, Kevin was silent for a long time. "No way. Are you serious about this?" Kevin's voice was faint. "Almost. I'd be careful if I were you. We all saw how crazy you were about Claire. You would have died for her. Don't play with fire and burn yourself. You'll end up groveling to win her back, and no one will be there to help you." Kevin seemed to scoff. 10 years of a woman's youth. Do you think she'd be willing to throw that away? Kevin's words sent a chill through me, as if I'd been plunged into an icy cavern. I thought of his repeated rejections these past few days, so he wasn't really tired, he just found me sickening. The word was like a needle piercing my heart, making it hard to breathe. He knew how precious 10 years of a woman's life were, yet he used it as a weapon to hurt me. I recognized the name Stella. She was a new intern Kevin's company had hired. I remembered the first time he mentioned her. His eyes filled with an unconcealed admiration. He told me Stella had lost out to other candidates during the interview, but the girl refused to give up, begging the interviewer for another chance, almost getting on her knees and crying. That kind of relentless spirit, Head said, was rare in young people today. In the end, Kevin took pity on her and, overriding the better candidate, hired her. I couldn't help but frown when I heard the story. Isn't that just emotional blackmail? Interviews are judged on ability, not on who seems more pitiful. It's unfair to the other candidates. Kevin, for the first time, gave me a dark look. Has being a doctor made you so cold-hearted? Have you no sympathy? I guess I've sheltered you too much. I didn't doubt myself because of his accusation and continued to argue with him. We gave each other the silent treatment for a whole night over it. Kevin was the one who came to coax me, and we made up, but I remembered the name. I never thought she would now be his personal secretary. It was from that point on that Kevin stopped sharing things about his company with me. Everyone has the desire to share. If they're not sharing with you, they're sharing with someone else. So, the signs had been there all along. That night, I went to bed early. I felt the mattress dip behind me as a pair of cold hands wrapped around my waist. I fought the urge to retch and grabbed Kevin's hand as it tried to slip under my nightgown. My voice was cold. "I'm not feeling well." Kevin froze. I could feel his arousal, and I knew it would be difficult for him to stop, but ultimately, he didn't force me. He tucked me in and went to the bathroom to take care of himself. He also took his phone with him. I don't know when it started, but Kevin always took his phone with him to the bathroom. A moment later, I received a friend request on my phone. The profile picture was Stella's. Taking a deep breath, I accepted. A screenshot arrived almost immediately. It was her chat history with Kevin, timestamped to just a few minutes ago, when he had gone into the bathroom. Stella had sent Kevin a hotel name and room number. She told him, "I'm not asking you to divorce her. I just want to give my first time to the man I love most. If you don't come, I'll just find a random guy. It's all the same to me if it's not you. Don't you regret it?" Kevin had replied with just 2 words. "Wait for me." Just as I finished reading, Kevin came out of the bathroom. "Honey, something came up at work. I need to go handle it." He used to use this excuse to go out late at night, because I trusted him. I never questioned it. Thinking back now, was it to see Stella every time? "I'll go with you." Kevin paused, then smiled gently and stroked my head. "Aren't you feeling unwell? Don't push yourself. I'd be heartbroken if you got sick. Don't worry, I'll be back soon." Without another word, he turned and left. I got in my car and followed him quietly. Kevin drove fast, and I almost lost him several times. Stella was waiting for him at the hotel entrance. The moment they saw each other, they fell into a passionate kiss, like lovers who had been for too long. Swallowing the bitterness in my throat, I took out my phone and took pictures. I even recorded a 10-second video. I watched them walk into the hotel. After composing myself in the car for a while, I called my former graduate school mentor, Professor Davies. He was abroad, where it was morning. The call connected. "Professor, does your project abroad still need people?" He sounded surprised. Then his voice filled with excitement. "Are you sure? For you, Claire, there's always a place." When I graduated, Professor Davies had wanted me to join his project abroad. It was an incredible opportunity, but for Kevin, I chose to stay. Over the years, the professor never stopped trying to persuade me, but I always refused. Deep down, I had always wanted to go. Now, finally, there was nothing holding me back. I don't regret my past choice. The Claire back then wanted to pursue love. The Claire of today is determined to fulfill her dreams. Both were decisions I made by following my heart. In the end, I confirmed with the professor that I would join him in about a month. When I got home, I took a bottle from the wine cabinet and started drinking, glass after glass. One more month, and I would be completely free. My best friend, Sophie, messaged me. "So, how was the candlelight dinner? Romantic. I told you Kevin loves you so much. A little effort and you'd have him wrapped around your finger." Everyone said Kevin loved me. I used to think so too. It turns out that when a man wants to pretend he's in love, he can fool everyone. I glanced at the ring on my finger and laughed at myself. Kevin had bought this for me by working as a delivery driver for 3 months. Back then, he and his friends had just started their company, and all their money was invested in it, to buy me a decent ring. He worked at the company during the day and delivered food at night, sleeping less than 3 hours. One time, he was so exhausted he dozed off on his electric scooter and crashed. Luckily, a passing car braked in time. When I rushed to the hospital, his hands and legs were bloody, his clothes stained red. Seeing me, he immediately hid his injured hands behind his back. I asked him with tears in my eyes why he was doing this. He clumsily wiped my tears. "Silly, of course it's because I want to marry you as soon as possible. What if some other guy snatches up such a beautiful girl? Now that you're mine, I can't bear to let you go." Later, we made a lot of money, and our financial situation improved, but I never took off that ring. Kevin had offered to buy me a bigger diamond, but I refused. To me, it was more precious than any other. Remembering how nervous Kevin was when he proposed, I took off the ring and placed it on the dining table. His words still echoed in my ears, but he was no longer the same person. I didn't need this ring anymore. In the middle of the night, Kevin sent a message. "Honey, the problem at work is complicated. I probably can't make it back tonight. Don't wait up. Get some rest." I'm with Leo, so had already coordinated with Leo. They really were good friends. I didn't reply. I had drunk too much and fallen asleep on the sofa. In my dream, I saw Kevin as he was when we first met. We were both freshmen, during military training. The first thing he ever said to me was, "Hi, you're really pretty." Such a cheesy pickup line. His dorm mates teased him about it for a whole year. After that, he would message me often. We weren't in the same major, but I would always run into him on campus. Many guys pursued me in college, and I wasn't particularly interested in him at first, but I was slowly won over by his sincerity and passion. After we got together, he was even more attentive. Everyone around me envied me for having such a caring boyfriend. We were together from undergrad through grad school. After I graduated, Kevin proposed. I accepted without hesitation. He held me tightly, his eyes red with joy as he choked out, "Claire, believe me, I'll give you a good life. I'll never let you down." Now, I had lost completely, but I had to accept the loss. The next morning, I was woken by my alarm. The pillow was soaked with tears. Kevin hadn't come home. I told myself this was the last time I would cry for him. I got up, washed my face, and got ready for work. Even though I had decided to resign, I had clinic hours and reports to write. I couldn't take the day off. That's how the adult world is. No matter how sad you are, you can't forget your work. Before heading out, I called a lawyer friend to consult about divorce matters. No dramatic confrontations or complaints. No need for some devoted second lead to suddenly appear and rescue me, to put Kevin in his place. My life was never just about Kevin. I had my own path. Divorce was the only ending I could imagine for us. In the morning, I submitted my resignation and went to work. I had so much to do that the busyness helped me temporarily forget about Kevin, but I didn't expect him to come to the hospital before I could find him. I was about to grab a file and find a patient's family when I saw a familiar figure in the distance. It was Kevin, and he was tightly holding the hand of a tear-streaked Stella. They were rushing towards the cardiology department. The room they were headed for was the one I needed to go to. It turned out Stella's mother was sick. Seeing her mother's frail face, Stella collapsed by the bed, crying. Kevin was beside her, gently patting her back and comforting her. Mrs. Miller said she had no regrets in life, except for the fear of leaving her daughter to suffer alone in the world with no one to care for her. I couldn't help but raise an eyebrow, because the patient I was looking for was Mrs. Miller. As I recalled, her condition wasn't that serious. Hearing this, Stella immediately told her mother she had a boyfriend and not to worry. When her mother asked who it was, Stella turned to Kevin with a pleading look. Kevin wrapped his arm around Stella's waist, his expression natural. Auntie, I'm Stella's boyfriend. Please rest assured, I'll take care of her for you. He even gave Stella a doting glance. Mrs. Miller was still skeptical and insisted they kiss in front of her before she would agree to her treatment. This time, Kevin looked hesitant and glanced around. Stella tugged at his sleeve, her face full of entreaty. In the end, Kevin couldn't refuse and leaned in to kiss her. I walked into the room, my face expressionless, and took another photo with my phone. Since I was getting a divorce, more evidence couldn't hurt. Kevin opened his eyes and saw me. He forcefully pushed Stella away. His face was pale, his eyes filled with a new and unfamiliar panic and fear. Claire, Stella, who had been looking a bit resentful, also paled at the sound of my name and stared at me in terror. They were both afraid I would make a scene, but I just said calmly, "The family of the patient in bed 03, please come and sign these forms." I turned and left the room. Kevin and Stella followed close behind. I handed the forms to Stella. "Your mother just has a blocked blood vessel. A stent placement surgery tomorrow will be fine. She can be discharged 3 days after a normal procedure. We already told her this yesterday." At my words, Stella's hand trembled, and she glanced guiltily at Kevin. Kevin pursed his lips. "What are you doing at this hospital? I transferred here a year ago." Kevin choked, unable to say another word. His wife had been working at a new place for over a year, and he had no idea. It was clear how little he cared. Stella handed me the completed forms. When I saw the address she had written, I paused. It was the first apartment Kevin and I had lived in together. He had bought it and put it in my name. He had told me, "This place holds all our beautiful memories. From now on, you are its sole owner. No other woman is allowed in without your permission." Kevin seemed to realize it too and was about to explain, but Stella beat him to it. "Claire, I'm sorry. My landlord suddenly sold the apartment and kicked me out. Kevin couldn't bear to see me homeless, so he gave me the keys. Please don't blame him. If you're going to blame anyone, blame me." I looked up at Stella's pitiful, tearful eyes. Youth really did make one look more sympathetic. "How long have you been living there?" Stella was taken aback, seemingly surprised that I could remain so calm. Two months. "Very well, Miss Shin. You should be aware that this property is registered solely in my name. The rent, according to the current market rate, is $8,000 a month. Please transfer it to me in the next couple of days. Also, I plan to sell the property soon, so please move out as quickly as possible." Stella looked at Kevin with a wronged expression, only to find him staring intently at me. "Of course, if Miss Shin doesn't have the money, someone else can pay me. As long as the money is paid, I don't care where it comes from." Kevin's brow furrowed, and he gritted his teeth. "Claire, are you enjoying this?" "Actually, no, there's no point. So when you have time, let's talk about the divorce." At the mention of divorce, I clearly saw a flicker of joy on Stella's face. Kevin's face darkened. "Do you have to be like this? I was just helping out. It was just a kiss. Are you going to blow this out of proportion? Is that so? Then can I just casually kiss another man to help out?" "You dare? Huh? A hypocrite." I sneered. "It seems Mr. Fu didn't have enough fun at the hotel last night. Don't worry, I'll move out today. You two can play at home." Kevin was stunned, his voice hoarse. "You knew?" I didn't answer. "I'll have my lawyer draft the divorce papers and send them to you." I started to leave, but Kevin grabbed my hand. It was then he noticed my wedding ring was gone. "Claire, are you serious?" I pulled my hand away and left, not wanting to argue with him in the hospital. There was nothing left for us to say except to discuss the divorce. From behind me, I heard Kevin's exasperated voice. "Claire, don't you regret this? This time, I won't humiliate myself by begging you. Plenty of women would love to be Mrs. Fu. It's true what they say. When you're utterly speechless, you just want to laugh." He was the one who cheated, yet he could question me with such righteousness. I had no idea where he got the audacity. That evening, my colleagues threw me a farewell party at a karaoke bar. They were sad to see me go, but they were also genuinely happy for my better prospects. On my way back from the restroom, I saw Kevin. He was in the next room with a few friends. From their conversation, it seemed they were talking about me. Kevin, your wife isn't really going to divorce you, is she? If you ask me, you've just spoiled her. My wife used to act up too, but now she's perfectly obedient. You just can't spoil women. If I were him, I'd just give her the cold shoulder. If she wants a divorce, let her. There's a 30-day cooling off period anyway. Once she realizes we're not indispensable, she'll get scared. How can you compare yourselves to Kevin? He's famous for doting on his wife. I knew all their wives. Some were in open relationships, secretly keeping young lovers with their husbands' money. Others stayed for the children, treating their husbands as meal tickets, securing their position to gain the most benefits for their kids. No woman is a fool these days. It's impossible to imagine one sacrificing everything for a cheater. Kevin had been drinking with a grim face. As the others watched him, he suddenly said, "After all these years, it's time she learned a lesson." At his words, the atmosphere in the room livened up again. "Claire, what are you doing here? Are you looking for Kevin? Come on in, he's here." Before I could react, one of Kevin's friends pulled me into the room. When Kevin saw me, his expression instantly softened, and the hand gripping his glass relaxed, but he still kept a stern face and wouldn't look at me. It was then I noticed that all the other men had female companions, except for Kevin. Leo immediately clarified, "Claire, don't misunderstand. These ladies are with us, not Kevin. Come on, sit down. Who else would dare to sit next to Kevin but you?" Kevin had already moved his jacket, clearing a space for me. Leo also started clearing the room, asking the female companions to leave. I quickly stopped them. "There's no need. I'm here with my colleagues. I was just leaving. Besides, Kevin and I are getting a divorce. This has nothing to do with me." Before I could finish, Kevin cut me off, as if he couldn't bear to hear the word divorce. "Claire, have you had your fun? There's a limit to jokes." I looked straight at him. "I'm not joking. Do you remember what I said the first time you got drunk at a karaoke bar?" I was serious. Kevin's face changed. He clearly remembered. He had gotten drunk and mistaken another woman for me, nearly kissing her. I had arrived just in time. Back then, I had told him, "If you ever become tainted, it'll be done with you." As I reached the door, I heard the sound of a glass shattering. Kevin had smashed his glass. "Claire, you want a divorce, is that it? Fine. I'll see you at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow. Don't be late." Good. That was exactly what I wanted. After the party, I went back to Kevin's place to pack my things. I had already asked Sophie to rent a small apartment for me near her place. I wouldn't be staying there for long anyway. As I was leaving with my suitcase, I ran into Stella bringing a drunk Kevin home. Our eyes met. A look of triumph was on her face. She helped Kevin onto the sofa. As she was about to get up, he pulled her into his arms. "Honey, I feel so sick. Hold me." The more Stella struggled, the tighter Kevin held her. "Honey, don't leave me." Stella glanced at me, blushing. "Mr. Fu, please let me go." Not in front of others. I had no interest in watching their flirtation. I took my suitcase and left. The next day, I brought the divorce papers drafted by my lawyer and finalized the divorce with Kevin. The assets were split evenly, and the process went smoothly. As we came out, Kevin spoke. "Claire, are you feeling defeated right now? Did you think I would beg you like before? A person's patience has its limits. I hope you know I won't always indulge your unreasonable behavior." I didn't answer, just looked at the divorce papers in my hand and smiled faintly. In 30 days, I would be completely free of him. Kevin frowned. "I'll find another place for Stella in the next few days. I'll have my assistant transfer you the money for her rent." I nodded. "Fine. I've packed my things from your place. You can throw away the rest. Don't forget you need to come back in 30 days. I turned to leave. Kevin suddenly said, "I didn't ask Stella to pick me up yesterday. I was drunk, and she happened to call." The waiter heard and called her over. "Kevin, you don't need to explain this to me. It's your private life." Kevin's face grew even darker. The next day, I was on a flight to Shanghai. Professor Davies had a 5-day academic forum there, but he couldn't attend, so he asked me to go in his place. I wanted to clear my head anyway, so I agreed. For those 5 days, I learned a great deal and met many leading figures in my field. It was so fulfilling that I didn't think of Kevin once. See, love isn't everything. Life has so many more meaningful things to offer. The day after I returned, I went back to work. As I was leaving, I saw Kevin standing in the distance. He was leaning against a black Maybach, a cigarette between his fingers, his clothes disheveled, and his face haggard. A male colleague who was leaving with me whispered, "That guy has been waiting here for days." I heard he asked the security guard about you and has been waiting outside every day since he found out you weren't at work. He gave me a worried look and asked if I needed help. I shook my head. Just as I said goodbye to him, I saw Kevin walking towards me. As he got closer, I saw his eyes were bloodshot. He clearly hadn't slept in days. His face was covered in stubble. Something almost impossible for the slightly germophobic man I knew. Dr. Jiang is impressive. Found your next target so quickly. I just wonder how he'll react when he finds out you have a 10-year ex-husband. Kevin, 10 years might seem long to you, but to me, it's nothing. Not getting the reaction he wanted, Kevin's composure broke. Claire, did you think that by disappearing for a few days, you'd see me frantic and worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I didn't call you once. You can ask your friends. I didn't even ask them where you were. Then what are you doing here now? My question stumped him. He seemed not to have thought about why he was there. After a long pause, he said, you changed the locks on that apartment. I can't get in. He was talking about the apartment Stella had been living in. So he had been there in the last few days. I nodded. Yes, it's my property, and I'm selling it. I changed the locks to prevent irrelevant people from entering. Kevin looked at me in disbelief. You're really selling it? Can you bear to? What's there to be sentimental about? It's useless to me. The real estate agent will be showing it in a few days. If you have anything you need to get, you can go then. When I said it was useless, Kevin's eyes instantly turned red, a flash of hurt in them. In the past, whenever we fought, if he showed that expression, my anger would vanish, and I'd run to comfort him. But things were different now. He was not the Kevin who would do anything for me, and I was not the Claire who trusted him with all her heart. His tears could flow for me, and they could flow for other women. I started to walk away, not wanting to let me go. Kevin quickly said, one more thing. I'm not free on the day we're supposed to get the final divorce certificate. We'll have to reschedule. Finally seeing an expression other than indifference on my face, Kevin smiled with satisfaction. Kevin, don't joke about this. No matter what, you have to be at the Civil Affairs Bureau. I don't have time to play games with you. I had already promised Professor Davies I would go abroad as soon as the divorce was finalized. I don't want this to end up in court. Kevin's smile froze. You want this divorce that badly? Isn't that what you want too? So he could be with Stella openly. Kevin didn't deny it. Well, see, I'm not sure about my schedule. Satisfied with my angry expression, he drove away. Back home, I took 2 bottles of wine to Sophie's place. Kevin is a bastard. Sophie slammed her glass down, cursing him angrily. If I had known he was this kind of person, I never would have helped him with the proposal. I refilled our glasses and shook my head with a smile. Who can predict the future? No matter how passionate a love starts, in the end, it all comes down to conscience. I was just glad I found out before it was too late. I heard that during the 5 days you were gone, Kevin didn't even go to the office. He left everything to Leo and just waited at the hospital for you every day. He's like this after just 5 days. If you really go abroad, won't he go crazy? Sophie said with a hint of schadenfreude. But how Kevin would react to my departure didn't concern me at all. Right now, all I can think about is how to help Professor Davies with his experiments and whether Kevin will stand me up on the day we get the certificate. Nothing else is on my mind. Sophie raised her glass to mine. All right. Our Claire is all about her career. I love it. The day after my drunken night, I got a call from the real estate agent. The apartment had a buyer who was paying in full without any haggling. I was happy to finally hear some good news and told the agent to proceed with the transfer as soon as possible. The following days, I was busy with the handover at the hospital and preparing to go abroad. Kevin would call me occasionally with trivial questions about where his clothes or ties were. After a few times, I just stopped answering. If it weren't for the divorce certificate, I would have blocked him immediately. Later, Leo came to see me once. He told me Kevin had fired Stella and that he had been in a bad state, even getting into a fight while drunk the day before. I had no good feelings for this friend of his and just said coldly, if he's injured, he should go to the hospital. Telling me is useless. I knew what he was trying to doplead on Kevin's behalf, but the root of the problem was never Stella. A mistress is shameful, but the cheating man is the true source of the sin. Without one mistress, there will be another. Once a man strays, it's not easy for him to stop, and I had no interest in being a long-suffering wife. Suddenly, it was the day before we were to get the divorce certificate. I was packing at home, wondering if I should call Kevin to remind him. Before I could decide, he showed up at my door. He looked furious, his eyes filled with rage. Did you send the pictures of me cheating to my dad? I was baffled. What? Still playing dumb? If you hadn't told my dad, would he have had a heart attack and collapsed at home? If Stella hadn't found him in time, the consequences would have been unimaginable. I finally understood what he was talking about, and my face darkened. I had considered asking Kevin's father to talk to him, but because of his heart condition, I was afraid of upsetting him and quickly dismissed the idea. Kevin, if you've lost your mind, go see a doctor. I'm a cardiologist. Do you think I would joke with a patient's life? As soon as I finished speaking, his fist slammed into the wall behind me. His eyes were filled with pain. Claire, you've disappointed me so much this time. I never thought you were this kind of person. You just want a divorce. Right, fine. I'll be there on time tomorrow. Watching him leave, any desire I had to explain further vanished. He wouldn't listen to anything I said now. This was for the best. If he didn't trust me, words were useless. At least this would get him to the Civil Affairs Bureau, which was a good thing for me. Coming out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, I felt a sense of relief I hadn't felt in a long time, as if a huge weight had been lifted from my heart. Kevin, on the other hand, had a frown etched on his face the entire time. He was about to say something when his phone rang. It was Stella's anxious voice on the other end. It seemed something had happened with his father. Kevin hung up and rushed off. Before getting into his car, he looked back at me, his expression complicated. Claire, take some time to reflect on yourself. We'll talk about our issues later. The divorce certificate was in my hand. What was there to talk about? Watching his car drive away, I said softly, goodbye forever. Kevin, that afternoon, I packed my things and boarded a flight to Germany. In Kevin's eyes, I was probably just throwing a tantrum. He never understood me. When I make a decision, I never look back. After landing in Germany, the first thing I did was change my SIM card. Except for my parents and a few close friends, I cut off contact with almost everyone from back home and dedicated myself completely to Professor Davies' research. It wasn't until 2 years later that my team and I were preparing to return to our home country with our latest research findings. Before leaving, I called Sophie. There's something I never told you. Kevin came to see me 6 months after you left. I responded nonchalantly. And, that bastard, to find out where you were. He knelt down to me in the middle of my company's lobby. It scared me so much I called the police and had them drag him away. I raised an eyebrow. Was he that unhinged? Hearing about Kevin now, I felt completely calm, as if I were listening to gossip about a stranger. Right, I thought so too. He regrets it now, but what's the point? He's just a deadbeat cheater. Anyway, enough about him. I'm just surprised you haven't found someone else after all this time. Don't they say the best way to get over someone is to get under someone new? I laughed. You can't rely on others for that kind of thing. You have to do it yourself. The most profound lesson Kevin taught me was that a man's heart is the least reliable thing in the world. In reality, no one can save you or heal your pain. I had to reclaim what I had lost on my own. And to get into a new relationship just to forget someone else would be unfair to the new person. I knew I would inevitably see Kevin when I returned. I didn't plan to avoid him. I just didn't expect to run into him at the first industry reception I attended. Kevin stood a short distance away, his eyes red and brimming with tears. I intended to ignore him, but he grabbed my wrist and pulled me outside. In the garden, he pulled me into his arms and repeated, "I'm sorry," over and over. I kept pushing him away. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore and threw the red wine in my hand in his face. Sober now? If not, I don't mind having the police drag you away. Kevin wiped the wine from his face. He looked more sober, but also more dejected. I know everything Stella did now, including sending you the messages and what happened with my dad. I've already run her out of the city. She'll never appear in our lives again. Claire, I was wrong before. I regret it so much. I chuckled. None of that matters to me anymore, because I no longer loved him. It no longer mattered. Kevin looked at me with tears in his eyes. Claire, can you come back to me? I haven't stopped thinking about you for a single moment all these years. I've always loved you. I looked at him coldly. Kevin, don't forget, we're divorced. No, that's not right. I never really wanted to divorce you. I just wanted to scare you. In my heart, you'll always be my wife. With that, Kevin pulled out a necklace from around his neck. It was the wedding ring I had left on the dining table 2 years ago. It was then I noticed he was also wearing his wedding ring. Honestly, it was disgusting. Kevin, we ended things 2 years ago. I hope you'll stop harassing me. Don't make me look down on you. My words had no effect on him. After learning my whereabouts, he started appearing in my life constantly, under the guise of pursuing me again. I won you over in college, and I can do it again. Claire, this time, I won't let you go. I was furious. Do you think I'd fall into the same trap twice? The first time, I could say I was naive. The second time would just make me a fool. but no matter how harsh my words were, Kevin refused to give up. I had no choice but to treat him as if he were invisible and focus on my work. We were only back for a few months, and every day was busy. A few days later, Professor Davies went to the hospital to perform surgery on a heart patient. The patient's family had been on a long waiting list to get him. The case was particularly unique, and he asked me to be his assistant. After 7 long hours, from day to night, the surgery was finally a success. Afterward, as the professor was speaking with the patient's family, chaos erupted. A family member, dissatisfied with the hospital's treatment, had a knife and was looking for revenge. We were about to retreat when we saw the man rushing towards us with the knife. I pushed Professor Davies out of the way, preparing to deliver a swift kick. Suddenly, a figure wrapped me in a tight embrace. It was Kevin. I couldn't break free. The next second, the knife plunged into Kevin's back. Kevin woke up the next afternoon. Seeing me sitting beside him, he managed a reassuring smile. "Claire, don't worry, I'm fine." I spoke coldly. "Kevin, are you an idiot? If it weren't for you, I could have kicked that lunatic away." In my 2 years abroad, besides working on experiments, I had spent my free time learning martial arts, partly for exercise, and partly because it wasn't as safe as back home. A man of that size was no match for me. If it weren't for Kevin, I would have subdued him easily. At my words, Kevin's expression fell. "I was just worried you'd get hurt. There was no need. And don't think you can use this to get another chance with me. The moment you called me sickening, it was over between us. So, if I told you now that nothing ever happened between me and Stella, you wouldn't believe me, right?" Kevin gave a self-deprecating laugh. "I didn't sleep with her. That night at the hotel, I stopped at the last moment. I thought of you, and I couldn't go through with it." "It's ridiculous, isn't it?" I didn't explain back then because I was being stubborn. "I wanted you to back down just once. To say just one nice thing to me, but you never did." Kevin took a key from his wallet. "The apartment you sold 2 years ago. I was the one who bought it. I couldn't bear to let someone else have it. I've been living there all this time. It's filled with all our beautiful memories. Every time I'm there, I think of you, as if you never left." As he spoke, tears streamed down his face. This self-pitying drama was so pathetic I almost wanted to laugh. "Kevin, you really are ridiculous. You don't think cheating is only when you have sex, do you? Your hugs, your kisses, I saw them with my own eyes. The fact that you thought of me at the last minute doesn't move me. It just makes me want to vomit." I stood up to leave, but he grabbed my sleeve. His choked voice followed me. "Is there really no chance for us?" I shook him off coldly. "Kevin, let's part on good terms. Don't make me regret ever having loved you." I left the room without looking back. Behind me, I could hear the sound of a man's unrestrained sobs. In the following days, I didn't visit Kevin in the hospital. He had plenty of people around him. He didn't need my care. Soon, I went abroad again. On the plane, Professor Davies discussed our future plans. A few of the younger researchers complained that they had aged 10 years and were losing their hair. Earning a stern lecture from the professor, I laughed along with them. I turned to look at the scenery outside, the path ahead. I would no longer be confined by my past. What I longed for was a freer, vaster sky.